Hey, so if you've been wondering what to eat to finally get your blood sugar under control, you're trying to reverse insulin resistance, or just stop bouncing in and out of keto, you're in the right place. Now look, the hard part really isn't figuring out what to eat. Although it may seem that way, right? The hard part is really cutting through all of the noise that's out there, all of the diets, the food rules, the TikTok advice, so you can figure out what really matters. And that is what we are going to do today. I'm going to give you one simple, actionable step that can completely change how you feel. It's going to calm your inflammation, it's going to support your hormones, and it's going to help your metabolism do what it is supposed to do. And it's really simple, but it's really powerful. And I'm sharing this from my experience, years of doing things and seeing what worked, working with clients over the years. And you probably know this deep down. Like you probably already know what I'm going to share with you today, but you may not have thought about it quite like this. So I want you to stick around because once this clicks, it's going to change everything about the way that you eat, how your body feels, and all of that. So let's get into it. So I'm Ryan. I am your keto cousin. I am a keto coach. I am a certified advocate through the Metabolic Terrain Institute of Health, and I help men and women suffering from metabolic disease to reclaim their health and their vitality through simple lifestyle shifts: food, mindset, sleep, movement. These are all the things that help move the needle. Now, if you watched part one of the series, you already know that we talked about the importance of finding your why, the deeper reason behind the choices that you're making. And today, we're going to go into, well, now that you figured out your why, you know what you want to do, you know that you're ready to take control of your health. Well, how do you do that? What do you eat? How do you truly support your metabolism? So, just like last time, I have slides. Slides are going to help keep me on track. So, I'm going to pull those up. Let's see. All right, we'll keep them in the corner for now. The last time I realized it was covering my face. I'm just trying to figure this out, y'all. You got to bear with me. So, I don't think it's covering my face this time, but we can pull out and make sure that, you can see just the slides. So, before we talk about what to eat, let's kind of go over again why this all matters, because metabolic health might seem like just a buzzword until you really realize how much it affects your life. I hope you have your tea. Today I'm drinking a matcha latte. This has coconut milk, well, coconut milk powder. Um, it's really good. So let's get into it. So when your metabolism is actually working right, you're gonna wake up with energy, right? You're gonna be able to think clearly. You're gonna be able to handle stress better, and your hormones are gonna stay balanced. Your body's gonna work just the way it's supposed to work. But when your metabolism is off, whew, you're gonna feel it everywhere. You're gonna be tired all the time. You're gonna crave sugar. You're gonna feel like you need to have 2, 3 cups of coffee just to get through the day. You can't sleep. Your mood is all over the place. You're gaining weight and you can't seem to lose it. And you really won't feel like yourself anymore. And the part that people don't really talk a lot about is poor metabolic health doesn't just show up when you are tired or cranky. It really steals your time. It limits what you can actually do and how you enjoy your life. And I was just watching a podcast with Stephen Bartlett, the guy from Diary of a CEO. I really love his podcast. And he was talking about going on on a trip. I think he said like whitewater rafting somewhere, and he was wondering, if his dad would be able to go on a trip like this. And he realized that he probably wouldn't. He wouldn't be able to handle like all the climbing or stairs or something like that. But that really stuck with me because we spend our whole lives saying, "Oh yeah, when I retire, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to travel. I'm going to explore. I'm going to do all the things." But if we aren't taking care of our health now, we may not get to actually enjoy any of those things, right? So, and I've seen it firsthand, I should say, too, because I had an uncle, he's now passed, but he had type 2 diabetes and he struggled with it for as long as I can remember. And he wasn't able to gain control over the disease. And he had all the classic complications that come with unmanaged diabetes. He lost his leg, he had kidney failure, he was on dialysis for years. And you just think about dialysis where you are tied to these machines. You have to go to this place and, get hooked up to this machine for hours, 3, 4 hours, multiple times a week so that they can actually like clean and filter your blood because your kidneys are what does that, right? And so when that becomes your reality, going on like a trip for a week is not even possible. You can't really travel, you can't live freely. And that's what poor metabolic health does, right? It steals your freedom, it steals your life from you. And it goes deeper because we're seeing cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes showing up in people that are younger and younger than ever before. We used to think of Alzheimer's as being like a disease of like old people, right? But young people, people my age, are showing signs of dementia. So these aren't separate problems, right? These are all connected through your metabolism and the way that you eat, your sleep, the way you manage stress, all determines how your body is able to use energy. Um, So we're not just trying to eat better, you are protecting your ability to live, to move, and enjoy your life decades from now. So hopefully you watched the first part of this series and you explored your why. And if you haven't watched it, go back and watch part one, check it out. There's a freebie in there to help you kind of plan out and think about your why. But now that you understand your why and why this all matters, we're going to talk about what metabolic health actually means and how to know if yours is working for you or against you. So let's get into that. And I'm going to swap screens here. Let's see if I can figure this out. Click. Okay, here we go. So, what does it actually mean to be metabolically healthy? So, here's the simple version. Metabolic health has to do with how well your body uses energy. That's it. So, when things are working the way they should, you're going to feel steady energy all day, right? You have energy from when you wake up all throughout the day. You don't have those mid-afternoon crashes that we are all so familiar with, right? You have your lunch, and around the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock time, you have like an energy slump, and it's hard for you to just kind of keep working, right? It shouldn't be that way. So, when you everything is working well, your blood sugar, your hormones are going to be well balanced. Your digestion is great. You sleep really well. You can handle stress without snapping at everybody in your home. And the on the opposite side, on the flip side, when your metabolism kind of is going haywire, it's breaking down, it touches everything in your life. Your energy is going to begin to tank. Your hormones are going to go wild. You may not be able to sleep. You're wide awake at 2 a.m., or you waking up tired. You get super bloated after your meals. And your cravings kind of are running your life. And eventually these little signs, they creep up and they become bigger problems, right? We see things like insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, issues with our thyroid, and then the weight, right? The weight that just doesn't seem to move no matter what. I know we know this, right? We've seen it. Many of you I know are experiencing it. I've experienced it. And you need to understand that your metabolism really is not just about burning calories. It's like a communication system that's happening. Every system in your body is talking to every other system through your hormones. So, if your blood sugar is constantly spiking because of processed foods, because of stress, um, the things that you're eating full of sugar, it doesn't just make you tired, it sends confusing signals to other areas of your body, to your thyroid, to your adrenals, to your sex hormones. And for women like me in perimenopause, that confusion kind of gets amplified because our estrogen is dipping. And as your estrogen dips, your body is going to become more sensitive to those blood sugar swings. So if your metabolism is already struggling, those hormone shifts can hit even harder. So you're going to have more mood swings, more cravings, more belly fat. And that's why when we talk about improving your metabolic health, we're really talking about supporting your hormones. The two are completely intertwined. You cannot fix one without helping the other. So now that we know what metabolic health really means, let's talk about what's standing in the way. And it's probably something that's in your pantry right now. So I want to clear something up because I know it's something that you might be wondering. I've been wondering this most of my life. Like what is the perfect diet? What diet should I be on? Is keto the best diet? Should I be going plant-based, which is super popular right now, or carnivore, which is also quite popular right now? But the truth of the matter is there's no one perfect diet. There's none. If you go online, everybody's arguing like keto, vegan, carnivore, Mediterranean. The reality is I think that they can all work, and I've seen people thrive on every single one of them because it really isn't about the diet, the label. There's something that all of these diets have in common when they actually work. They move you away from processed junk towards real food. And that is the magic, right? It's not meat versus plants. It's really chemicals versus nutrients. So for me personally, right, I love a low carb diet. I do, keto style approach sometimes. And I know that it's what I need to do due to my genetics. It keeps my blood sugar stable. It gives me lots of good energy. But I'm not here today or ever really to tell you that you need to go strict keto today or tomorrow. I'm here today to help you realize that you need to clean up your food. You need to lower the junk and get your metabolism working again. And once that happens, your body's going to start doing what it's supposed to do. The point is here is to figure out what fuels your body best. And that's what I call metabolic mastery. And it's not about following someone else's rules. It's about really knowing what works for you and listening to your own signals. So once you really get that, you're going to stop overcomplicating it. You're going to stop bouncing from one plan to another, thinking that there's some magic formula out there because there isn't, right? The formula is that your body wants real food. And that's it. It's simple. So before we go deeper, I want to talk about what's really messing things up. What is standing between you and better energy, better hormones, better health? and it's probably in your pantry. It's probably all over your pantry right now. So let's get into it. What is the real problem with processed foods? So what to eat? The real problem with processed foods, the thing is that most of the things that we call food today, not really food. It is mostly formulas, right? These are foods that are made in factories. They're not made in kitchens. If you find any package, in the middle of the aisle in the grocery store and you flip that package over, you're going to see a list of like 27 ingredients, half of which you can't even pronounce. And that is not nourishment. That's like lab work, right? And I want to talk about the words fortified and enriched that we see on many labels. It sounds really healthy, right? Like, oh man, they're doing us a favor. They've fortified this, they've enriched it. But the real deal is that that label usually means that the food has been stripped down of something and they're trying to build it back up. They're removing like the natural nutrients that would occur in the food naturally, but they've been removed in the processing. Like you think about white flour, right? They're removing the outer hull that has a lot of the nutrients in it. And then they refine it down to this, white powder, and then they add synthetic vitamins back in to meet whatever regulations they have. And I think it started out as a public health thing way back in the day, like adding vitamin D to milk or how we have like iodized salt. But now it really is mostly marketing. They're adding back a few man-made vitamins, and that does not make it like a whole food again, right? You can't just take what nature created and then strip everything and try to put back what you think goes back. Real food comes with enzymes, comes with nutrients, compounds that actually work synergistically together. And you can't fake that with some powder, right? And then, you don't get me started on all the other ingredients that hide behind these nice names like natural flavors. And then we have like the vegetable oils and we put slap low fat on everything. None of that really means healthy. And we're falling for it. We keep falling for it. And even in the keto world, I fell for it. In wanting to feel like I wasn't missing out, I would look for all of those keto treats and the keto snacks, and I would go for the keto cookies and the keto chips and the protein bars. I'm telling you, Quest chips were my jam. But you look at the ingredients. If you really look at the ingredients and think to yourself, like, is this food? You realize it's not. Like the Quest chips, you flip that over, and I swear there must be 50 ingredients um, on those. So I was really still eating junk, right? Yeah, technically low carb, but it was junk. And so guess what? I finally cut those out for real. And I noticed huge changes in my body. My skin, my energy, my mood, everything just felt cleaner. And that's when I realized it really isn't just about the calories, the labels, the carbs. It's about these chemicals that are in our environment and in our food that we just keep putting in our bodies. So let's talk about how processed foods actually disrupt our hormones because, again, it's really just not about calories or carbs, it's about chemistry, right? Every bite that you take is sending signals to your body, it's sending information. So processed foods send mixed messages. So the first problem has to do with the chemicals. And a lot of packaged foods, even the packaging itself, right? The plastic packaging contain things like phthalates, BPA, and these are endocrine disrupting chemicals. They act like they act like fake hormones, like fake estrogen. They sneak in and they latch on to our hormone receptors and they are confusing our bodies. And for women that are in perimenopause, this is really like it hits harder for us because our hormones are already doing their thing, right? They're changing. Our estrogen is starting to dip. And now we're eating and drinking, and let's not even get into like putting things on our bodies, but we are consuming things that are mimicking estrogen. And it's like turning up the volume on everything that we are trying to like bring down and calm down. And then we notice more mood swings, we notice more fatigue, more bloating. And then there's inflammation. That is the second piece. Processed foods, especially ones made with all of the refined oils, refined sugar, the additives, they keep your body in a state of low grade stress. And all of that inflammation just further throws your hormones off balance. It can mess with your insulin, your blood sugar. It's going to slow down your thyroid, and it's going to make it harder for your body to clear hormones the way that it should. So when you start eating real food, I like to say single ingredient foods, your body actually can recognize you're not just cutting calories, you're not just cutting carbs, you are removing that constant stream of fake chemicals and inflammation triggers. And that's why so many women start feeling better fast because you're getting fewer cravings, you're getting more energy, you're having fewer hormonal swings because once you remove the junk, your hormones finally get that clear signal and it's just overall better for your health. So, where do you start? What should you actually eat to notice this difference? So, when you strip away all of that diet noise, all of the macros, the plans, the trends, it really comes down to this. You need to eat real food, like foods that have only one ingredient. If the ingredient list is a food like eggs or beef or broccoli or sunflower seeds, right? You're doing good. That's real food. But if you flip over the package and the list looks like a science experiment, that's not food. That is chemistry. So let's talk about one of the sneaky lines that we see, right? I mentioned it earlier, that natural flavors, and it really sounds innocent, but here's what it really means. The FDA is saying that natural flavors can come from, uh-oh, hold on there. So natural flavors can come from anything that's like technically natural, right? Like a plant or a food or even an animal. But after that, it's fair game. They can add anything to that. They can add preservatives, they can add solvents, they can tweak it, and it's kind of proprietary, so they don't have to actually list what is in it. So, it's just this sneaky ingredient that you really don't know what you're getting. So you need to be avoiding things that have natural flavors added to it. And once you start eating clean, you start eating real food, your body is going to notice right away. So I'm trying to show you that this really is not about restriction, right? You don't have to go carnivore, you don't have to go vegan. It's really about just gaining clarity and recognizing that we need real food to nourish our bodies and we don't want those chemicals in our bodies anymore. So a big part of this is going to be avoiding the eating out that we're sometimes doing, right? When you're eating out, you're really not going to be able to maintain that single ingredient uh, food choice that you want. So eating out is going to be a struggle. I think that's going to be the biggest struggle for you. But when you're cooking at home, you're going to stick to those single ingredient foods. And again, I want you to go back to your why and think about why you're doing this. If you do decide that you're going to go out and you're going to eat out, Pick places that you know and trust that don't use a bunch of junk in their foods. I like to go places where I can just order like a burger without the bun. Um, you can put lettuce, you can put tomatoes, but stay away from anything that is, packaged, that would be packaged, like the bun. Fries are going to be fried in seed oils and crap you don't want to eat. And eat at home. Like, really just consider eating at home. Okay. So here is your challenge for the week. And I promise this is really a simple challenge. I want you to go through your pantry, start reading those labels. If you see a paragraph long list, or you see words like natural flavors or something that says fortified or enriched, let it go. If you don't recognize it in nature, it doesn't belong in your cart, it doesn't belong in your kitchen. And I'm not asking you to be perfect, but right now it's about awareness. Just start swapping out the packaged stuff for real food, single ingredient foods. Shop around the perimeter of the grocery store. Ignore the things on the inside. And these are going to be foods that your body actually recognizes. So, to make it easier, I do have a free download for you. It is a food list that is straight from my guide and journal, Metabolic Mastery. It's going to break down what to eat and what to avoid so that you can get started right away. And you're going to find that linked down below this video. I want you to try this out. Try it out for just 1 week. Seriously, 1 week of real food, no junk. And I think you're going to be shocked at how much better you feel with less bloating, more energy, better mood. Cravings are going to decrease. And next week, we're going to build on this. We're going to be talking about protein, how much you actually need, why it's critical for hormone balance, for muscle maintenance, and long term fat loss. So go ahead and clean out your pantry, download this list that I have down here, and I'm going to see you back here next Sunday for our coffee chat number 3. Thank you for tuning in with me. Bye.